All right, how about now? Gotta love it when you do a live and there's no sound and we need to start over. Gotta love it. This is life lived real. I'm hoping that everything's there. So we're going to go over our methods really quickly. Methyl chloride. Remember, this is the majority of what's done. They do a solution. They put the tea in a solution of methyl chloride and return it the water for reabsorption of the flavors and oils. This allows the molecules of caffeine to bond to methyl chloride. It is forbidden to import teas treated this way in some countries. The second one, for a recap, is ethyl acetate. So tea processed using ethyl acetate is often referred to as naturally decaffeinated because there's a minuscule amount of ethyl acetate found naturally in tea. Now remember, I said this is the same process as with the methylene chloride processing. There are some large name tea companies that use this, but primarily with tea bags as opposed to loose leaf teas and sachets. Those typically are using method number 3. Excuse me. And that is carbon dioxide. And we talked about carbon dioxide is in short supply for various reasons right now. And this is where they basically pressure cooked the tea and with the carbon dioxide in there at high pressure and high temperature. And then once the carbon dioxide reaches the super critical state where CO2 or carbon dioxide becomes a solvent, the smaller nonpolar molecules, the smaller caffeine molecules will attach to it, leaving the flavor oils. Flavor stays intact because they're larger molecules, so they stay there. This is one of the favored methods, but it's becoming more and more expensive, and it is not really used by many because the methyl chloride is one of the least expensive at this point. And then the fourth one is the water processing decaffeination. This is where we basically make tea. The water is pulled, the tea is pulled through a carbon filter for caffeine removal. And then that tea that's been pulled out is brought back in to bring a watered down reabsorption of flavors and oils. But that's why it's always considered watered down. It is not considered the best method because you usually have to add more tea. But it is the most natural method in my personal opinion. Now, the way that I always recommend, number 5, for your tea. Remember, I have Emerald Garden today. I will talk about it again since nobody heard me the first time. Thank you very much, Diane, for letting me know. And brew your tea. Take out your tea leaves. Hand that tea over to someone like me who can enjoy and appreciate every milligram of that caffeine in her life. Or you can dump it out on the garden, and it is good for the plants. There's high in nitrogen in tea leaves and things like that. So, and then you rebrew your tea and it will have less caffeine. That will take out the majority of the caffeine. It is not completely decaffeinated, but it will significantly reduce. And if you can't have any caffeine, my suggestion would be sticking to teas that are caffeine free to begin with, unfortunately. Now, why did I go through this again here? I know I went through this not long ago, but the reason for that is, like I alluded to last week, there was an ad because there is a group, and this, I have to pull up my tablet on this one so I can look at it. It is from earlier this month in April. And in Washington, there are several health advocacy groups that are petitioning the FDA to ban a key chemical involved in the decaffeination process for both coffee and tea due to cancer concerns. And that chemical is methylene chloride, a colorless liquid that is used in industrial processes, including paint stripping, pharmaceutical manufacturing, paint remover manufacturing, and metal cleaning and degreasing. In addition to being carcinogenic, methyl chloride can cause other health harms, according to this article. So they are going to the U.S. Center for Disease and Control to have it. The toxicity of the chemical led the EPA to ban its sale as a paint stripper in 2019. In 2023, the agency proposed a ban of its sale for consumer uses and many industrial and commercial uses. So this has been an ongoing process, and I wanted to alert you to it because so many people, they want those flavors, but they need caffeine free. Please, please, please check. Make sure wherever you're getting that decaffeinated tea from, you are getting a safely decaffeinated tea. Because I do want to talk about that second method again for a second. That ethyl acetate, there's a tiny minuscule piece in the tea leaves naturally. That is nail polish remover active ingredient. So yeah, well, there might be some naturally occurring in the tea leaves, not as much as what they use as the solvent. Although they do wash it off with water to try and get that methyl chloride and the ethyl acetate off after they've extracted, I still wouldn't recommend it. But now, I do want to do another shout out really quickly because I am drinking Emerald Garden today. We did a huge event this weekend in Wamego, Kansas, the Wamego Tulip Festival. Hello and welcome to all our tea family members that just joined us this weekend. So we always offer free samples at our live events, and this was one of them. This is our Emerald Garden. It is a green tea blend. And I'm going to talk about it for a second because one of the biggest comments we had all weekend, and both Rich and I chuckled about, was people kept saying, it's green. And I kept thinking, well, we said it's a green tea blend. It doesn't have any other ingredients, just a blend of different green teas. And they're like, but it's green. And I don't know. It was a long week at work. I had to go away for a couple of days for work purposes. We came right back. We went to this event. Not a lot of sleep, a lot of being out in the sun, and it's been in the 90s and very, very hot in the tent and everything. And I kept thinking, but isn't green tea supposed to be green? Like, shouldn't it really be green? That seemed unusual to me. I couldn't. But apparently, some people are drinking green teas that are more brown in color. And I thought, Now, you've seen me brew Harmony before and Winter's Kiss, and they're a much lighter green. And there are potentially ones, this is what I consider a medium to dark colored green. And so for me, it's just green. But apparently there are others that when they add other things in or the way that they brew their tea, I don't know, it's really dark. So yes, our green teas are actually green in color. That still surprises me. But it was really nice because we could say, well, yes, there's only green tea in here, just green tea leaves, nothing else. Now, because we had this and we did it as a cold brew today, because as I said, it was 92 degrees in Wamego, Kansas today, with not a lot of wind, surprisingly. And we only got here back to the house 17 minutes before the live. I didn't have time to brew any tea. And I wanted to enjoy the outside without the tent keeping it very humid. So I am outside today. So I just simply took this. And then I didn't want a lot of sugar because of the heat, but I did want a little sweetness to my tea. So I made a simple syrup. Now this one I made using stevia leaves and warm water, and I extracted it myself. And this glass is probably, I think, 16 to 18 ounce glass. It's actually a very large glass. It's not a small one. And I used, when I made it earlier, roughly a teaspoon, and I had this sucker filled because it is still cold from the thermos and very refreshing at this point in the day. And so this is what I used, a simple syrup. Now, one of the reasons why I love using individual simple syrups like this, first of all, it mixes super well. All I had to do is pour some in, I use my official stirring stick. It just looks like a chopstick, okay? Okay, it's a chopstick, but I love it as my stirring stick. And then I stir it up, and I'm done. It's mixed in and the flavor. I don't like when you go and you get this flavor and you add some sugar and it's too much or it's too little and it doesn't dissolve and it's like half unsweet and then half super saturated with sugar. That is just not fun. That is not a fun tea to have. I love the simple syrups or honey or something that can be in here like this. Now, if I was doing honey, a lavender honey would be amazing with this because it would make a lavender garden tea we have periodically in some of our special sampler sets. That would make this a lavender green tea. Perfect for the hot weather. It's very light. It's very refreshing. It doesn't have the bitter aftertaste. That's one of the things when we created this blend is it doesn't have the bitter aftertaste, which we like. And I wanted to say that's why simple syrups, and that's what I'm drinking today, even though I'm not making the tea live. I do also want to say another super shout out that you can hear how much we appreciate the fact that I don't have a handy dandy assistant today. He is single-handedly unpacking the truck as we just came back from the event, because as soon as this live is over, we are going to pack ourselves back into the truck and I have to go to Topeka for a 2-day work conference. And my driver's going to go with me to escort me. So we're not home very long today, but we didn't want to skip meeting with our tea family. And so welcome to those that are joined it this weekend. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. It should be open to everybody who chats or reach out. Now, I did get that about this weekend about the green tea, which still stuns me. The other question that I got is a lot of times, can you cold brew? Yes. The one thing that we do say is our 2 blends that have chamomile in them, our evening mint and our peacefulness, we don't recommend a cold brew. Go ahead and brew it warm and then let it cool as opposed to a traditional cold brew. The chamomile doesn't extract as well the other way. So go ahead and do it that way. And that is what I have for that. But I thought that was really interesting about the different methods and the fact that the FDA is going after one of the biggest methods that they use to decaffeinate tea. That kind of scares me. So thought we would share that today. Looking for questions. Let me check my phone to see if anybody has put a question, either text or on Facebook. With regard to Facebook, so we thought we had it all worked out so I could go live on Facebook again. It did not work out how they said it was. They're trying to figure it out. All they know is that there's some sort of bug. And so we're going to continue to stick to live streaming on YouTube. I'll put the link in an event on the Facebook page, but hopefully that fixes soon because it is very confusing to go back and forth to one another. Any other questions? If you want to reach out and try to give everybody a chance. Let me see. Some of the other questions that we had over the weekend were how long, when you do multiple brews, how long can you leave it on the counter? And one of the things I always say is, well, I typically will have more than 1 cup of tea per day, so mine don't stay out very long, but I've left mine overnight and just popped in the open air so it kind of starts to dry. And since it's a nice big basket, it dries pretty quickly and evenly, and then I just do that for my next brew the next morning, and I have not ever had a problem with that. That was one of the questions that we had. And then either on our Facebook page or here in the chat, we had 2 suggestions for teas. Which one should we work on first? Or which one would you like to see first? There is one that is a vanilla orange hibiscus tea. That would be completely caffeine free. And there is a strawberry rooibos tea. That would be completely caffeine free. We have a lot of requests for caffeine free teas right now. So we're trying to, and I thought both those flavors, when they were brought up to me, were very intriguing. So, which one intrigues you more? I will say that peach will be coming out soon. We have some peaches that we had freeze-dried ourselves that we're using for testing, but we are waiting for the Colorado peaches to come out, so that, because they'll come out fairly soon, I hope, and then that's what we'll use to launch our peach tea. Any other questions? Anything else? Don't be shy. Put it in the chat. We do keep track of all of our questions and comments, and so even if you comment later, we will go back and we will answer them as we get them. But if you have a preference, let us know one way or another. All right, I'm not seeing any come in on my phone or on the computer or on the YouTube, so I will say we will see you next week. And next Sunday, I will have more questions that we had gathered from the event this weekend, and any other questions that you have. This is the week. Let them all be out there and let me know, because next week is our big question and answer week that we do once a month. And we are going to be brewing up something special next week. Just stay tuned for that. Also, the 26th, we are going to have our live tea time, Mother's Day tea time event. If you are interested in getting the tea that we'll be drinking live sent to you, please reach out, let me know, and I would be happy to send you some so that we can all enjoy the same tea together, and maybe even make a tea together, flavor it a couple of different ways. And then I will also know that you're interested in the recipe. We are definitely going to be doing rosemary scones. We tried them. They're delicious. We worked out the bugs. We updated the recipe, of course, because we always add our little twist on it, and they came out amazing. A very nice savory scone. But we're trying to also decide, do we do lemon curd or do we do like a raspberry jam? So many decisions in life. Not enough time to make them. All right. Thanks for joining us. And a special shout out both to my handy dandy assistant for unloading the entire truck for me so that I didn't have to do that and I could come live. And another one to Diane for letting me know that the microphone wasn't working so that we could go live and you could hear what I was saying rather than just watching my mouth move. So thank you. I will see you all next week at 6 p.m. Have a wonderful night.